Hello, 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 and welcome, everybody. It's your pal, the ASMR Ryan, and today I am giddy with excitement on making this video because we're going to be doing one of my favorite things in this entire world, which is talking about movies. Now, I know a lot of you were upset at me when I didn't do a review on the 2018 Halloween movie, but today we're going to be reviewing Halloween Kills, so hopefully it makes it up for you all. If you guys enjoy the movie reviews, please let me know down in the comments. Feel free to leave a movie suggestion. I might watch it and review it on the channel if you guys would like me to. So, without further ado... Hello? Is anyone there? Terribly sorry for the interruption, guys. I had no idea the homie Mikey would be joining us today, but I do want to let you know how I want to structure my reviews. I like to make everything really organized, so if you check the timestamps in the description, you'll see I basically structured this review in a bunch of different parts. First, we'll be talking about story. Then we're going to be getting into the kills, then talking about the characters in the movie, the soundtrack, the audience I feel that would enjoy this movie. From there, we'll go into my final thoughts on the film and end it with my score. This is going to be a mostly spoiler-free review, but at the end, I'll let you guys know when I dive into spoilers so you don't get the movie spoiled. All right, let's get started. The story. The sweet, sweet, almost non-existent story. Now bear with me, while this was an entertaining movie to watch, I did feel like they didn't do much for the story in this film. It being the sequel to the brand new Halloween 2018, picking up off of the first Halloween, it did not move forward in this timeline as much as I would have liked it to. For instance, if you liked Halloween 2018, you probably did because it brought back Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis playing her as someone with a vengeance waiting to get Michael, and introduced new characters and helped us really see how far and how long it's been since Michael terrorized Laurie on that fateful Halloween night in 1978. This movie almost felt like it was in slow motion when it came to what was really happening on screen, what was forwarding the story, if you know what I mean. For the most part, it focuses on the kills, I would say, and that's why I made the kills its own category. We'll get into much deeper detail on them in a sec, but for the story, I do believe that they didn't focus that much on it. They really cared about the idea of making Michael Myers a much more aggressive, much scarier, killer or object or shape out there than really diving deep into, I wonder what Laurie's going to do next. I wonder what Karen, Laurie's daughter, is going to do next. I wonder what, what's her name, Allison, Laurie's granddaughter, is going to be doing. A lot of those characters almost took a back seat to this movie because the majority of the movie focused on a lot of the older cast members from the original Halloween movie, people like the nurse that was transporting Michael with Dr. Loomis, Tommy Doyle, Lindsay Wallace, just a lot of people, Sheriff Brackett from the original movie. This movie really, really focused on bringing back the older characters, and what I really, really respected about that was they actually got the original actors that played in the 1978 Halloween movie, so I'm sure it was a lot of fun for them to be able to reprise their roles, but it really just felt like one big standstill for the movie, just so they can kind of showcase, hey, look, remember this person? Hey, look at this crazy kill. Look how insane Michael is now. Look how much brutal we are in this movie, rather than a dialogue scene, where if you watch the original Halloween, there weren't many kills. I think there was only 6 kills in the original Halloween, while this movie's kill count is much, much higher. This movie's kill count actually shout out to Dead Meat, is the highest kill count of any Halloween movie to my knowledge. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go into the kills. One more thing about the story is they really explored the idea of an angry mob. I think it was Halloween 4 where there was a small mob that was like, no, Sheriff, you're not going to kill Michael, so the town of Haddonfield's going to come together and we're going to hunt down Michael ourselves. This movie really took that idea, and just cranked it to 11. It really showed the entire town of Haddonfield coming together, including all the original characters from the original movie, and said, you know what? Screw Michael Myers, and we're done. We're done. After 40 years, he's still haunting our town. Kids are still scared to go out on Halloween night. We're still scarred by the trauma he left with us. We're all done. Grab your pitchforks, literally, baseball bats, guns, any weapon you can, and let's hunt down Michael Myers. So that was one thing that I both enjoyed and didn't enjoy, because while I do feel like we should have been focusing more on the whole Laurie and Karen and Allison and Michael relationship of moving the timeline down, like I said, they took a back seat so they can focus on this idea of the entire town coming together to kill Michael. And without spoiling too much, they went off on a subplot for almost what felt like 20 to 30 minutes that almost had nothing to do with Michael, cutting back to it and just showing how much of a stress and how tormented the population of Haddonfield is for Michael, that they end up doing monstrous things too. They do something dumb, they do something terrible, and they all look at each other and just go, look at what Michael has done to our town. He's riled us all up. He's made us just as evil as he is. So I felt like that was the only really cool idea of the whole Haddonfield versus Michael thing, which you can see a lot in the trailer of the whole, you want your mask, come and get it, Michael. You know, it's a lot of fun to explore, but I really feel like they stretched that out for way too long, and they really should have focused more on forwarding Laurie's relationship with Michael and building up more to that final movie of Halloween Ends that we all know we're going to end up getting. So, story, for me, didn't do too well, but I don't really feel like the director, writers, producers, and everyone in this film wanted to focus too much on the story rather than the kills and just the exciting parts of the movie that are more based off of action rather than dialogue and storytelling. So yeah, with that being said, let's go into this movie's highest praise, this movie's just peak of everything in this movie, the kills. The kills. My, without a doubt, hands down favorite part about this movie is the kills. Comparing it to some of the older Halloween movies, Michael Myers has a body count of 28 people who died in this movie. From what I could count, Dead Meat, James, you do your thing. It's not my job to count bodies, it's yours. You do an amazing job, and I love you. But from what I was able to count as I was watching the movie, it was 28 kills. They were absolutely brutal. They were bloody, they were creative, they were insane. I was watching this with a group of my friends and my parents, and even my mom was just like, my God, Jesus. There were moments where one of my friends had to look away because of how insane it looked. The effects in the movie were absolutely beautiful. They did a great job depicting really how much of a monster Michael is, how scary he was. I think for the first time in a long time, I was genuinely terrified when Michael came on screen. It was one of those moments where once you saw the mask, you knew something crazy was going to go down. Now, I keep comparing this to Rob Zombie's Halloween when it comes to the kills and Michael Myers, because I feel like that's the closest movie when it comes to really solidifying how crazy and how relentless Michael is in this movie. A lot of people didn't like the Rob Zombie movies because they were really inappropriate, they were grotesque, they were brutal, they were no holds barred, kind of just in your face grittiness. I feel like when it comes to the kills, they turned it up in this movie. Some of the things that Michael does, I think this was the first time I've seen him in a long time where I was genuinely scared when Michael came on screen, because the second you saw his mask, the second you saw his head tilt, the way he walked, first of all, his movement in this movie is a lot faster. You see Michael in situations we haven't seen him in before, or many situations where he's almost fighting like a video game character, a horde of people around him. Again, you see this in the trailer, so no spoilers, but there are moments in the movie where Michael is almost like a Mortal Kombat character of the round one fight, and I thought that was really interesting. It was cool seeing that almost human side of Michael, of when he puts on his mask and looks around and kind of realizes, okay, 1v12, I got this, let me clutch this. That really made me happy, because I feel like we need more realistic slasher moments like that, because there are so many times where I'm watching a slasher movie and there's 10 people in a car and one guy's like, all right, everyone wait in here, I'm gonna go in alone and see what happens. Goes in, that person dies. Hey, maybe I should go check on Bobby, let me go in alone. That person dies. Hey Cindy, do you want to come with me? Let's go in alone. Die. I've always wanted that moment of, hey guys, there's 10 of you. Why don't you all just bum rush the guy, and at least one of you are able to get, a shot off or something. So they really show that in this movie, which made me really happy, and again adds to that body count. So when it comes to the kills, guys, be ready. I watched this with a group of my friends and my parents. My mom was like, Jesus Christ, like shielding herself from the screen. One of my friends actually had to look away for one of the scenes because of how good the practical effects looked. They didn't hold back, for sure. So you guys will not be disappointed in the kill department. And like I said, talking about the story, this movie did not focus on the story. I think it focused wholeheartedly. Not saying that the story's bad. They did great on the story. But you can really tell that their main focus was living up to the title, Halloween Kills. It's kills, it's kills, it's kills. It's Michael going through Haddonfield. It's Haddonfield as a community collapsing on itself. It's not just dialogue. It's a montage, almost, of the most brutal kills ever. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the movie. We'll move on to the characters, because I feel like that's where I'm going to go more in depth to what the characters did in this movie. But in terms of the kills, 10 out of 10. Holy crap. Brace yourself. The characters. Now, the way I'm going to be structuring this is I have a list of the main cast and some of my favorite characters that we're going to be talking about. I'm really excited to go through them, so let's just get started. I know I've brushed up on a couple of the characters so far in this review, but now we're going to go one by one through them and really depict what they did, if I enjoyed what they did, how I feel their character played in the story, blah, 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 all the good stuff. Starting with the main woman herself, the Scream Queen, Jamie Lee Curtis, aka Laurie Strode in this movie. She did great, but I do feel like, and this is why I said a lot of people who liked the first Halloween 2018, new one that just came out, might not like this movie, is Laurie really isn't in this movie that much. She plays a really important part. She is Laurie Strode, but like I said, most of the story took a back seat. Let Michael kill like a crazy man, while Laurie is obviously wounded at the hospital with everything going on, on this crazy night. So Jamie Lee Curtis obviously doing an amazing job, as always, showing the crazy, vengeful side of herself, where it's like, no, I've still prepared all this time for Michael. There's no way that he's still alive. Just her living with the idea that this guy is not just an ordinary guy. This is something on a completely new level. So, again, not much going on in terms of her character and the development of her character. More of the same thing, perfectly executed, but again, more of the same thing. I really feel like they could have done more with her, but it was very realistic in the idea of, okay, guys, she's injured from the last movie. She needs to be in the hospital. This girl isn't going to just run outside, wounds and all, and go fight this unstoppable beast. No way. Speaking of the unstoppable beast, excuse me, James Jude Courtney. I'm a little sick, sorry if you guys can hear it in my voice. But James Jude Courtney, the guy who plays Michael Myers, he's also the guy who played Michael in the previous Halloween, 2018. And I, honestly, again, the most brutal Michael, in my opinion. I love Tyler Mane. Rob Zombie's Michael is just really, really awesome. But I feel like Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, really kind of ruined that Michael for me. He kind of just, well, he was just as brutal. The ending of that movie kind of ruined that Michael for me. But James Jude Courtney did an amazing job. He's not this crazy, giant, lumbering Bigfoot of a man like the Rob Zombie Michael was. He was just this shape, this guy who goes around killing and brutal, and just his movements, the way he did everything. I can see why they casted this guy, and I had the honor of meeting him. If I'm able to, I'll put up a photo here of me meeting him. I had him sign this mask back here, actually, and I'm just really grateful for that. So James Jude Courtney, an absolute amazing Michael Myers, and really made me fear him in this movie. So, job well done. Dylan Arnold played Cameron, the boyfriend of Allison. In the last movie, he didn't have much screen time. He was just known as the douche boyfriend that cheated on his girlfriend. In this movie, he definitely has a much more important role. I liked his character. He was cool, really realistic in terms of the way a teen would react to all this. I feel like back in the day, a lot of the teens in the old school horror films were scared, and it was like, leave it to the adults. But I feel like with how desensitized a lot of us are in this day and age, and how violent video games are ruining the youth, he was really all right, Dad, I'm coming with you, we're going to hunt down Michael, kind of guy, which I feel like most teenagers would be. So, great character, loved him, great acting, super cool dude. Andy Matichak, or Matichak, I don't know how to say her last name, and I'm so sorry for butchering that. She plays Allison. She did a great job as well. She didn't really play that much of a part in this. She almost kind of was like Dylan's character, Cameron, her boyfriend, where they were both really just there to say, we need to kill Michael. We're part of this angry mob. Let's go kill Michael. And it really wasn't that big of a difference in her character in this movie. I really felt like she was going to be the next Laurie Strode with the first movie and everything going on, but in this movie they didn't really focus on her as much as they did the kills, which I'm pretty much going to say about a lot of people. Judy Greer as Karen, which is funny because midway through the movie my friend's like, wow, what a Karen. It's literally her name in this movie. I loved Judy Greer in this movie. She was the no-nonsense mom that put her foot down. She was almost the voice of reason in this movie, and she kind of felt like the final girl in this movie when it came to, in a sense, where she was the one who had that final "what's up, Michael" kind of moment. Without spoiling anything too much, she did kick some ass. She was really great. I love her character. And again, no spoilers, but she did amazing. Judy Greer did a fantastic job as Karen, Laurie's daughter, in this movie. Getting into the old school cast that they brought back for this movie, I feel like the only person that didn't return for their original role was Tommy Doyle. I can be wrong. I'm not sure if Anthony Michael Hall played Tommy Doyle. I'm not too sure, but shout out to me showing that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do, I promise. Charles Cyphers returns as Sheriff Brackett. He played the original Sheriff Brackett in the 1978 Halloween movie. I had the honor of meeting him. Again, I'll try and put up photos of these people as I mention them. He signed my Halloween poster. He's a really sweet guy, and although he didn't have much to do in this movie as Sheriff Brackett, it was nice to see him back in that cop uniform, trying to, keep the crowd down, trying to maintain order. It almost felt kind of sad seeing him back on screen, because there were some moments where he was kind of just like almost a lost old man, and in the most least offensive way. I love Charles Cyphers. That guy is such a nice person. Meeting him at the convention, I was able to talk to him for a long time, and I'm so glad that they brought him back onto this movie to reprise his role, because Sheriff Brackett was one of my favorite characters in the original movie. So it was good seeing him back, but similar to how Star Wars brought back Luke and Han and Leia, and you really just kind of saw them as, wow, they're old. They're getting old. I as much as I love bringing that nostalgia feel back to movies, seeing those actors come back to play their old roles, it really just reminds you of how old we all are. And I know that's really ironic coming from me, because I'm 23. So I know I'm not old, and I'm talking to a bunch of 12-year-olds. Love you guys. You're amazing. You support me. You're the greatest. Which I want to say real quick. A lot of people, I was insulted once saying, you guys have a lot, you have a lot of kid fans. I love you guys. Don't ever let someone make you feel bad about something because of your age. I see people playing games online and like, you're a 12-year-old. Okay? Own who you are. I'm proud of you. I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. Just had to say that, because telling me I have a young fan base is not an insult. It makes me happy that I get to talk and hang out with amazing people like you, Back to the review. Seeing Kyle Richards come back as Lindsay Wallace, she did a fantastic job as well. I didn't think her acting was too good. There were some moments where, there's a moment where she literally screams and says, hurry up and run before he comes here and kills all of us. That might not be her fault, because that line was kind of weird to me, but that moment almost kind of felt like a parody, because it was just so ham-fisted. It's almost like she said, he's gonna come over here and stab us with his knife. It felt like that, it's like, we know. But she did amazing. I'm glad they brought her back as little baby Lindsay. They did a lot of flashbacks in this movie that I'll go into more in the spoiler aspect of it. Anthony Michael Hall plays Tommy Doyle. Love Anthony Michael Hall. He's done an amazing job in the past. Edward Scissorhands, Weird Science, The Breakfast Club, all these amazing movies he's been in. National Lampoon's Vacation. I love that guy. He's a great actor, and he was my favorite character in this movie up until around the middle part. I'll talk about that in the spoiler section, but fantastic work from Anthony as always. Nancy Stevens comes back as Nurse Marion Chambers, the person who transported Michael with Dr. Loomis in the first movie. She's adorable. She's super sweet, and again, just like Charles, it's one of those moments where you just look at them and you're kind of like, oh, you're so old. Don't get old. And then another person they brought back was Nick Castle. Excuse me. Nick Castle came back to reprise his role as Michael Myers. I don't know exactly when, but I know he was credited as Michael Myers in this movie. I'm sure someone will make a video saying, here's a photo of when Nick was Michael, and then this was James. This is Michael, this is Nick, this is James. I don't know exactly when, but he was credited, so I thought I'd throw him in there as the group of people they brought back to kind of say, hey, remember the OG cast? Which does pay respect to the original movie, and I appreciate that they did that. Scott MacArthur as Big John and Michael McDonald as Little John. two amazing actors. Michael McDonald, I used to watch as a kid on Mad TV every day. I love that actor. He's amazing. He's hilarious. And in this movie, he showed he can also do more drama, more horror elements of acting, like being afraid. And their scenes, Big John and Little John, were absolutely hilarious. I am the number one person in this world that will look at you and say, I don't like when my horror movies have comedy. But the way Downey McBride wrote those two characters, because I already know Danny's the one that wrote their entire storyline, I'm sure, was so perfect, and it was so intertwined perfectly in the movie. Big John and Little John were the new owners of the original Michael house. So that's mainly why they played a part in the movie, was Michael Myers wants to get back home. That's his objective in almost every Halloween movie. And they were both the occupants in there, so no spoilers, but yeah. And their relationship was absolutely amazing. They played a gay couple, and it went so perfect in the movie. They became my favorite characters in the movie. And I know you guys are going to hate me for that, because it's like, why not Michael Myers? Why not Laurie Strode? But when I tell you that they had some of the best dialogue in the movie, because it was both funny and just entertaining, I'm not wrong. Okay, watch the movie. You're going to fall in love with them. Excuse me. But their two characters were perfect. Sorry guys, I'm just really, really congested right now. But going through those characters, that's kind of how I thought about all of them. I threw in Big John and Little John at the end there because I did really, really enjoy their characters. It was a really perfect combination of both comedy and horror. And I think that was the only... Oh, I'll get into spoilers. I was just about to say something. Spoilers in a sec, but let's crank those tunes and talk about the soundtrack. The soundtrack, absolutely amazing. I don't have much to say about it other than I might actually download this on my phone, because it's really, really well put together. You got a lot of those old school John Carpenter feels, a lot of synths really that I heard in the soundtrack, and as heard in the original, not the original, the previous Halloween movie 2018, they have their own reamped version of the classic Halloween theme where it goes dun, 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 dun. I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about. I probably look crazy, but that part of the original Halloween soundtrack is really, really amazing. Now in the new one, in the 2018, and in this movie, they have like this electric guitar that goes... I can't really explain it, but I would say that's pretty prominent in both movies. It's really, really cool. It's another really just kind of sound, and it happens in some of the most suspenseful moments. So I want that to be my ringtone. I think it's great. A lot of the songs that would come on, especially towards the climax and the ending, were just really kind of like moments of like, you know, like, I don't use this kind of language, but they were a bop. So I feel like a lot of people will enjoy the soundtrack. I did very much, and I'm probably going to be cranking it once while I'm editing this video. But I really, really enjoyed it. So 10 out of 10 on the soundtrack. Big fan. The audience, I feel, that would enjoy this movie. Now, as I said before, this movie doesn't have much substance to it when it comes to the story, to dialogue, to things like that. There are moments where the dialogue, I feel like, is really, really lackluster. There's a moment where Karen goes up to Tommy Doyle and says, I need a car. And he literally just goes, I have a car, in that exact tone, which was, I thought, really funny. She just looks at him and goes, I need a car. I have a car. Like, it just didn't really feel that natural. But the audience I feel that would enjoy this is the kill count people. the people who love watching movies for the gore, love watching Halloween movies for the creative kills, for Michael Myers in his purest form of his stabs and his chokes and his throws and his everything, you would love this movie if you really enjoy watching horror movies for the kills. So I'd highly recommend it for the people that are not looking for something to really nitpick and dive deeper into the lore of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode and their relationship. And, you know, there were a lot of older Halloween sequels that dove deep into the curse of Michael Myers, the Thorn cult, and all those things, which I thought were terrible. Trying to explain why Michael Myers is this immortal being that won't die. This movie really just says he's evil. Look at how evil he is. He's stabbing these people. And I feel like if that's enough for you, if you're someone that doesn't necessarily go into the lore of something, or don't like the scenes where there's people just talking about what should we do, this, that, and around, you would really, really enjoy this just for the idea that it's bloody, there's crazy kills, the action is almost non-stop, and I would highly recommend it for those kind of people. Story lovers, dialogue lovers, you might not like this one, especially the ones that may have liked the 2018 version. The 2018 version had a lot more story to it in showing us where these iconic characters are now. Well, this one is kind of like, all right, pause break, Michael, go kill. It's kind of how this one felt. There you go, audience. Now it's time for my final thoughts and review on the movie, including spoilers. So this next portion, this final timestamp, well, second to last timestamp, because I'm still going to give you the score, is going to be a bit of a spoiler talk and my final thoughts on the movie. Warning, spoilers are coming up. Okay? Let's do it. All right, you made it to the final thoughts and spoiler review on the movie. I'm going to make this very quick, or at least try to. There were a lot of flashbacks in this movie. They went back in time a lot. The opening scene in itself is a flashback to 1978, to Halloween Day. Since Halloween 2018 was a sequel to the original Halloween, and they completely ignored all the other movies in the franchise, they almost rewrote history in a way, showing that Michael was caught by Dr. Loomis and the police officers that one fateful Halloween night in 1978, showing that Officer Hawkins came close to murdering Michael, but instead murdered one of his partners, that Dr. Loomis was just one shot away from killing Michael right there in front of everyone, and Officer Hawkins stopped him. It really rewrites that history of what happened at the end of that night. There was no balcony shot. There was no Michael falling on the ground and disappearing. There was just a lot of new characters, almost. They introduced another kid from Halloween night that came face to face to Michael that wasn't in the original cast. I think his name was Lionel. And he was a pretty cool character, but it was really, really obvious that they just threw him in there to kind of have another person to join the cast of dead characters, which is why I was saving it for this. Spoilers, guys, please, spoilers, do not complain. All the old people in the cast, for the most part, died in this movie. Iconic characters like Lindsay Wallace. Lindsay, I don't think she died, to my knowledge. But Tommy Doyle is dead. Sheriff Brackett is dead. Marion Chambers, the nurse, she's dead. Big John and Little John, my favorite guys, they were dead. The kills were absolutely brutal. There was a sequence where a man dressed up as a doctor and his wife dressed up as a nurse on Halloween joined Lindsay Wallace and Marion Chambers to go hunt down Michael. They're going around the city looking for him, and they run into him, and those deaths were absolutely insane. The nurse lady ends up actually shooting herself in one of the funniest Halloween kills in the entire franchise, where Michael's in a car and this lady, I laughed out loud, is point blank aiming at Michael, shooting a Desert Eagle, missing every shot, and as she gets closer to the door, Michael kicks the door open, the gun turns, and she shoots herself. It's hilarious the way it was executed. I'm sure they went for it in a comedic way, because even just the pause and the tone of that whole scene, or at least that kill, was just pretty comedic. The death of Marion Chambers, the nurse lady from the original movie, I thought was really, really funny the way they did the parallels to it. They were in a car, Michael jumps through the back of the car, the same iconic jump he did in the original movie in 1978 when he gets on the roof. This time the nurse knows better and she's shooting up in the air with the gun through the roof. He smashes the window right next to her the exact same way he did in the original movie. Which you'll see a lot of that in this movie. A lot of parallels of, hey, that happened in the first movie. Hey, that happened. Like, because since they have these old characters coming back, I feel like some of them almost were put back into the exact same scene now just 40 years later, which was funny to me. Tommy Doyle's death scene was insane. Excuse me, I'm terribly sorry, guys. Again, I am very, very sick right now. I apologize for that. Tommy Doyle's scene was towards the end. Judy Greer's character, Karen, Laurie's daughter, grabs Michael's mask and is like, "You want this mask? Come and get it." They lead him out to a trap where everyone pulls their cars around Michael, and there is no joke, maybe a group of 20 people around Michael Myers, just ready to get him, almost like angry mob version, where Michael's in the middle looking at everybody around him, and they're all there to kill him. My brother even said, "Oh, I feel bad for Michael," because what happens in that scene is they beat the hell out of Michael. He goes to the ground. Michael's on the verge of death. Karen comes up, grabs Michael's knife, and stabs him in the back. And it's like, I was shaking looking at the screen, because I was like, they're gonna kill him. They're gonna kill Michael Myers. What the hell are they gonna do for the third movie? And then you slowly start hearing a voiceover of Laurie's voice talking to Officer Hawkins saying, "I used to think Michael was a human." Basically, slowly going into the idea of Michael is not a human. Michael is an unstoppable force of evil. Michael is immortal. And in that moment, Michael takes the knife out. He slits Sheriff Brackett's throat, which, again, absolutely insane. You just murdered Sheriff Brackett, which made me sad because Brackett was about to shoot Michael, but they killed him. Michael kills everybody in the angry mob, including Tommy Doyle. And his final kill was he just stabs Tommy, looks at him on the ground, and smashes his head in with a baseball bat. So Tommy's dead. You know, they're all dying, and it's really, really hard to see a lot of the original characters from the original movie be murdered like that. But we're moving on. We don't need to rely on nostalgia. I'm a big fan of movies doing their own thing, but I can understand why they brought back those characters. But just so they can die, that's the only thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Other than that, the final death of the movie, which really got me, Judy Greer, Karen, her character, ends up dying at the end, and the way they shot that was absolutely amazing. Judy, when she's taunting Michael, says, "Just like your sister, you know, we're here at your house, chase me. Oh, I'm an innocent woman just like your sister was. Come follow me." Her thinking Michael is dead goes up to, the original house where her daughter's at, because her daughter's boyfriend was murdered there. And Judy Greer's character Karen goes up to the sister's room and just looks out the window and is like, job well done. Turns around and is murdered in the same exact fashion that Michael did with his sister in the original movie. I'm talking hands up, everything like that. They had a bit of a POV view, but it didn't really have that masked circle look. And it was insane watching that scene be done properly and not through a killer's mask and like a weird stabbing motion that we got in the original movie. It was a great way, I think, to end the movie. It slowly pans in on Michael's face and it kind of cuts to black there on the title card, but it's insane that they killed that character. You know, Michael murdered Laurie's daughter. So I did feel like this movie was a huge, almost intermission for this trilogy, because we knew we were getting Halloween, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. This is the middle movie where they're setting up for everything. This entire movie, like I said, didn't have much story, but when it did, it really was like that kind of elbowing, just wait till the next one. Oh, you'll see, like moments like those, and that's why I didn't necessarily enjoy it as a movie with storytelling. It feels like a kill count. It feels like a movie where you just watch to turn your brain off and watch some crazy kills. With Michael now murdering Laurie's daughter, you can really tell they're building up that final climactic fight between Laurie and Michael for Halloween Ends, the final movie in the trilogy. So I would say that's going to be insane. That Halloween Ends is gonna really hopefully bring everything together, because now we have Allison, you know, the daughter of Karen, Judy Greer's character, without a mother and a father. Michael killed them both. You know, all she has is her grandmother, so I feel like it's going to be this young and old type thing versus Michael, with Allison's character and Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode. So I feel like this was a big commercial break, almost, from the story, where you can just watch the kills and have fun with. But that's my spoiler talk. There was a lot of really great kills, a lot of moments. Big John and Little John, they both died. And I would actually say Karen, Big John, and Little John were the only kills in the movie that really made me kind of go, oh shit, you know? So Big John and Little John, their characters were perfectly written. I love those guys. But yeah, that's it for spoiler talk and my final review. Let's get on to giving you guys the score. The final score of the movie. I give you guys my final thoughts with the spoiler talk, but if you didn't watch that, I'm going to let you know this movie focuses on kills. It's not much about storytelling, but all in all, it's a fun movie. As someone who likes the Purge franchise, up until Forever Purge, because that movie was terrible, I can definitely turn off my brain and enjoy a movie that focuses on gore, kills, and action scenes. I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. It's a fun movie to watch. The majority of the friends I watched it with gave it a 7. One of them gave it a 10 out of 10 just because they really enjoyed the kills and thought that it was a perfectly well put together movie. But I can really see why critics are rating this really low and the audience is rating this really high. Because as a movie, as something that has good writing and, you know, pushes the plot forward, it really doesn't do that. It has good writing for some characters, but it really just focuses on the aspect of, look at Michael, look how much more brutal he is, watch him kill. So, let me know what you think about the movie. If you've seen it in the comments, please keep the comments spoiler free for our people that have not seen the movie yet. But I love you guys. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day and a happy Halloween. Keep an eye out for some more spooky role plays I got coming out, but I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to make these videos, and I hope you guys enjoy them because I can talk about movies for hours with you guys. Have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining me, and don't forget to smile. Goodbye, everyone, and good night. What if they